Not even Kylian Mbappe's 3 goals in the World Cup final were enough, nor Erling Haaland's 50-plus goals and a Champions League winning hat-trick. Not even Cristiano Ronaldo, with all his greatness and goal records, could surpass the one and only, the eternal Lionel Andres Messi. A rivalry that never truly existed, because while everyone tried to catch up to him, he was already far ahead. Today, we know without a doubt that Messi is the greatest of all time. At 38 years old, with time leaving wrinkles on his face and even grey in his beard, Messi continues to gift us chapters we never imagined. He played his last World Cup qualifier with the Argentine national team, and now he prepares for what will be his final World Cup in 2026. Every time he steps onto the field, we feel like we're witnessing the last sparks of the greatest footballer to ever exist. In honor of his greatness, today we're going to revisit the 8 Ballon D'Or awards that shaped his journey and how each one carved the most glorious legend football has ever seen. Let's begin. The 2008-2009 season wasn't just another chapter in football history. It was the beginning of an era that could never be repeated. Lionel Messi was only 21 years old, already carrying the label of the heir, and had just been given the number 10 shirt at Football Club Barcelona, the same one Ronaldinho left behind, the magician who had brought joy back to the Camp Nou. No one knew if Messi was ready to carry that weight, but he didn't just carry it, he turned it into an eternal symbol. That year, Pep Guardiola's Barcelona touched glory. La Liga, Copa del Rey, and the Champions League. The famous sextuple was on its way, and at the heart of that perfect machine was a young Argentine short, shy off the pitch, but a giant every time he stepped on it. The most unforgettable night came in Rome, in the Champions League final against Cristiano Ronaldo's Manchester United. The entire world was expecting a showdown between the Portuguese star and the Argentinian. And Messi, who was never one to talk much, responded in the only way he knows, with football. In the 70th minute, he appeared in the box, leaped against defenders much taller than him, and with an impossible header, sent the ball into the top corner. That goal didn't just seal the final, it was the declaration that the future of football already had an owner. That season, he scored 38 goals in all competitions, delivered impossible assists, and became the engine of a team that marked a before and after in football history. At just 21 years old, Messi lifted his first Ballon d'Or, beating Cristiano Ronaldo and Xavi Hernandez in the vote. That award wasn't just a trophy, it was the beginning of a dynasty. The start of the journey of the player who would turn every pitch into a canvas, every match into a chapter of a legend, and every ball into pure gold. The year 2010 seemed destined for others, not for Messi. Spain had just been crowned world champion in South Africa with a goal from Andres Iniesta, and along with Xavi, they were the clear favourites to win the Ballon d'Or. Everyone took it for granted. The trophy had to stay at home, in the hands of the architects of Spanish football. But football, like life, never follows such an obvious script. While the world celebrated La Roja, Messi kept shining with inhuman consistency. The 2009-2010 season with Football Club Barcelona confirmed that his brilliance was no coincidence. He finished as La Liga's top scorer with 34 goals, and although Barcelona didn't repeat the treble, they lifted the league title again, largely thanks to the magic of their number 10. Messi didn't just score goals, he invented them. Opposing defenders already knew what he was going to do, yet they still couldn't stop him. Every burst of speed, every cut inside, every left-footed shot into the top corner felt inevitable, as if the destiny of football were written in his feet. When the Ballon d'Or ceremony arrived, everything pointed to Iniesta or Xavi taking it home because of their World Cup triumph. But when they announced the name Lionel Messi, the world was stunned. Even Messi himself looked surprised, shy at the microphone, saying, "I didn't expect to win it today. It's a surprise for me too." And hey, I want to see you in the comments. Did Messi deserve more than 8 Ballon d'Ors? If you think he did, drop a like and subscribe to Barça Cracks. At just 22 years old, Messi lifted his second consecutive Ballon d'Or, proving that he wasn't just a prodigy of talent, he was a player capable of surpassing every expectation, even those of the entire world. That second Ballon marked the beginning of a reign, Messi was no longer just the future, he was the absolute present. In a football world filled with giants, he was the only one who seemed to play by different rules, as if everything he did was simply too easy for someone so young. The 2010-2011 season is remembered as one of the peaks of modern football. Pep Guardiola's football club Barcelona had reached such a sublime level that many called it the best team in history. And at the center of everything, as the soul and engine, was Lionel Messi. That year, the Argentinian didn't just shine, he dazzled. La Liga was once again painted in Barcelona's colors, with Messi as its ultimate reference point. But there was a wound that kept Messi and Barça from repeating the coveted treble. Barcelona lost the Copa del Rey final in Mestalla against Real Madrid. It was a tough, rough match, decided by a lethal Cristiano Ronaldo header in extra time. That night, the Madridistas celebrated as if they had defeated an unbeatable giant, and the media began to push a loud narrative. Cristiano was the clear favorite to win the next Ballon d'Or. But what no one imagined was that with that defeat, they had awakened an animal. A rabid dog named Lionel Messi, who was not going to forgive. And justice arrived weeks later, in the Champions League semi-finals. The first leg was played at the Santiago Bernabeu. The entire world was paralyzed, watching the most anticipated duel. And it was there that Messi unleashed his killer instinct. The first goal came from a filtered pass by Ibrahim Afellay, and with a subtle touch, Messi guided the ball in to silence the stadium. But the best was yet to come. In the next play, Busquets barely had to give him the easiest assist of his life. Messi took the ball, burst forward from the edge of the box, dribbled past defenders as if they were ghosts, and finished with an impossible left-footed strike. That goal was a masterpiece, the perfect painting he created with his feet on the most hostile night. Barça eliminated Real Madrid, and in the final at Wembley, they met Manchester United once again. There, Messi wrote another glorious page. In the 54th minute, he unleashed a dry shot from outside the box that left Van der Sar frozen. That goal was the sentence. Barcelona was the best team in the world, and Messi, the best player on the planet. That season, the Argentinian finished with more than 50 goals in all competitions, an inhuman number for a player who was not a traditional striker. The Ballon d'Or final trio was historic. Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Xavi Hernandez. And although Cristiano carried the memory of that Copa del Rey in Valencia, and Xavi his eternal brilliance as Barca's midfield brain, there was no doubt the award went to Messi. The trophy was handed to him by Ronaldo Nazario, the Brazilian phenomenon who had once marked an era himself. At just 23 years old, Messi lifted his third consecutive Ballon d'Or, making it clear he was no longer just a prodigy. He was the absolute king of world football. And as if that weren't enough, before that ceremony, Messi displayed his 4 Ballon d'Ors at the Camp Nou in one of the most iconic images in recent history. The photo of him standing before his fans, gently touching those golden spheres, became forever engraved in football's memory. The 2011-2012 season witnessed something that had never happened before in football. A player decided to rewrite the laws of logic, to break every limit, and that player was Lionel Andres Messi. Barcelona no longer had Pep Guardiola as its eternal shield. The coach's golden cycle was coming to an end, and the team seemed vulnerable. They lost La Liga to Mourinho's Real Madrid, with Cristiano Ronaldo leading them to a historic 100-point season. They also lost the Champions League semi-finals to Chelsea on that tragic night at the Camp Nou where Messi even missed a penalty that could have changed everything. Everything seemed to indicate that it would be the Portuguese star's year after all. With 46 league goals and a resounding title, he looked like the #1 candidate for the Ballon d'Or. But Messi, once again, tore up the script. Because when everyone thought he was beaten, he responded with the greatest individual season of all time. That year, Leo Messi scored 91 official goals, obliterating the record that German legend Gerd Müller had held for 4 decades with 85. Every week was a massacre, hat-tricks, 4-goal games, impossible goals from every angle. No defense could stop him. It seemed that football was too small to contain him. And the most impressive part, he did it without stopping his playmaking. Alongside his festival of goals, he delivered more than 20 assists, becoming the most complete forward the sport has ever seen. The 2012 Ballon d'Or ceremony was almost an imperial coronation. The final trio consisted of Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Andres Iniesta, but there was no debate. The entire world surrendered to the evidence. 91 goals in a single calendar year. Messi won the award with 41% of the votes, an overwhelming margin over his rivals. That day, he became the first player in history to win 4 consecutive Ballon d'Ors. No one before him had ever achieved that, not Pelé, not Maradona, not Cruyff, not even Cristiano. And football understood that what we were witnessing would never be repeated. Messi had reached an inhuman dimension. He wasn't just a footballer. He was a monster who had shattered the ceiling of history. The 4th Ballon d'Or wasn't just another award. It was the seal that confirmed we were living in the era of the greatest player of all time. After dominating the world with 4 consecutive Ballon d'Or awards, Messi seemed invincible. But football history is not a straight line. And in 2013, the throne was taken from him, at least for a while. That year, Barcelona was still strong, but injuries began to hit the Argentinian. A hamstring issue forced him to miss several matches toward the end of the season. Meanwhile, Cristiano Ronaldo had a brilliant year, especially in the Champions League, where his goals were decisive. The 2013 Ballon d'Or ceremony was an earthquake. Cristiano lifted his 2nd award, breaking Messi's dominance. And the following year, in 2014, the story repeated itself. Real Madrid conquered the long-awaited Decima, with Cristiano as their flagship and the competition's historic top scorer. The Portuguese star lifted his 3rd Ballon d'Or, and the global press lit the debate. Was the Messi era coming to an end? What no one understood was that this rivalry never really existed, because while Cristiano celebrated, Messi was preparing in silence. Yes, he had lost awards, suffered painful defeats, even the 2014 World Cup final in Brazil, which still beats painfully in Argentinian hearts. But Messi wasn't finished. He was gathering strength to return even greater. And that return came in 2015, with a renewed, more lethal, more complete version of himself, accompanied by 2 beasts in attack, Neymar and Luis Suarez. What was about to happen wouldn't just return him to the throne, it would mark one of the last great golden chapters in Barcelona's history. After 2 years of watching Cristiano Ronaldo lift the Ballon d'Or, many dared to say the Messi era was over. But what no one expected was that in 2015, Lionel Andres Messi would return stronger, more decisive, and alongside 2 beasts who would make history with him, Neymar and Luis Suarez, the famous MSN. Barcelona's 2014-2015 season was simply unforgettable. Under Luis Enrique, the team unleashed its most explosive attacking version and became a goal-scoring machine. Messi didn't just lead, he elevated everyone around him, Neymar flying down the left, Suarez attacking through the middle, and Leo, as always, pulling the strings from the right toward the heart of the box. That year, Barca won the treble, La Liga, Copa del Rey, and the Champions League. And in each trophy run, Messi was the protagonist. In the Copa del Rey, he gifted us one of the most iconic goals of his career. In the final against Athletic Club, he picked up the ball at midfield, burst forward at full speed, left 4 defenders behind, and finished with a left-footed shot at the near post. A goal straight out of a video game. In the Champions League, the defining moment came in the semi-finals against Pep Guardiola's Bayern Munich. At the Camp Nou, Messi decided to remind the world who the real king was. First, with a powerful left-footed strike at the near post. But the second was pure poetry. He received the ball in front of Jerome Boateng, sent him to the ground with a feint, and then chipped the ball over Neuer with a touch only he could invent. That goal went viral around the world, the day Messi made a giant fall. In the final in Berlin against Juventus, Messi was once again the engine. Barca won 3-1 and completed a historic treble. Messi finished the season with 58 goals and 27 assists, numbers that felt like science fiction. When the 2015 Ballon d'Or ceremony arrived, there was no debate. Cristiano Ronaldo and Neymar were finalists alongside him, but the award was indisputable. Messi lifted his 5th Ballon d'Or, sealing his return to the throne. That trophy wasn't just another number in his record. It was proof that even when the world believed he was finished, Messi always came back stronger. Football belonged to him, and in 2015 he made that clear with a season that will be written into eternity. After the treble and the explosion of the MSN in 2015, it seemed like Barça would remain at the top for a long time. But football, as always, took unexpected turns. In 2016, Barcelona won another La Liga and another Copa del Rey, but couldn't repeat in Europe. It was the year Zidane's Real Madrid began an unrepeatable era, the first of their 3 consecutive Champions League titles. Cristiano Ronaldo became the symbol of that European dominance and lifted his 4th Ballon d'Or, tying Messi in the race. In 2017, the blow was even harder. Real Madrid won La Liga and the Champions League, Cristiano was decisive in the key matches, and the Ballon d'Or ceremony once again tilted toward Portugal. Cristiano collected his 5th award, and the rivalry seemed to be at its peak, both tied with 5 trophies each. The media, fans, and the entire football world fueled the idea of an eternal battle. 2018 was a strange transition year. Cristiano left Real Madrid for Juventus after winning the club's 13 Champions League and his 3rd in a row. At the ceremony, the Ballon d'Or went to Luka Modric after his Champions League win and World Cup runner-up finish with Croatia. It was the first time in more than a decade that neither Messi nor Cristiano won it, and many interpreted it as the end of an era. But the reality was different. Messi was hurt, yes, but not finished. He no longer had Neymar, he no longer had the overwhelming teams of Guardiola or Luis Enrique, but he still had the most important thing, that relentless left foot, that genius that appeared even in the middle of chaos. And in 2019, when it seemed the rivalry with Cristiano had stopped being relevant, Messi returned to remind the world that he had always been the greatest. The year 2019 seemed destined for other names. Luka Modric had broken the dominance in 2018. Virgil van Dijk had delivered a flawless defensive season with Champions League winning Liverpool, and Cristiano Ronaldo, now at Juventus, was still an absolute reference. But once again, Messi appeared when they least expected it. That year, Barcelona suffered one of its most painful Champions League defeats. The comeback at Anfield against Liverpool left deep scars in the club, and among the fans, many thought that loss erased any chance for Messi to compete for the Ballon d'Or. But the Argentinian once again showed that even in the middle of tragedy, his football shined brighter than ever. Messi ended the season with 36 La Liga goals, becoming top scorer once again, along with 17 assists. He was also the Champions League's top scorer with 12 goals, delivering unforgettable performances like his brace against Liverpool at the Camp Nou, including that impossible free kick bent into the top corner, still echoing through the stadium to this day. At the 2019 Ballon d'Or ceremony, the atmosphere was thick with anticipation. Many believed Van Dijk would be the chosen one, but when the presenter announced Lionel Messi, the entire world understood that the story still belonged to the Argentinian. With that award, Messi reached his 6th Ballon d'Or, finally surpassing Cristiano Ronaldo, who remained at 5, and that moment shattered the myth of an eternal rivalry. Because yes, Cristiano had been a worthy adversary, a competitor who pushed Messi to go even further. But the truth was clear. While everyone tried to catch up, Messi was always one step ahead. That 6th trophy wasn't just another number. It was a shout to the world. Messi didn't need comparisons. He himself was the standard by which greatness was measured. The 2019 Ballon d'Or was the symbol that the rivalry never truly existed, because there is only one greatest of all time, and that is Lionel Andres Messi. If there was one thorn that accompanied Messi throughout much of his career, it was not having won anything with the senior national team. Argentina had lost heartbreaking finals, 2 Copa Americas against Chile and the 2014 World Cup final in Brazil against Germany. Messi's tears after those defeats were etched into everyone's memory. That's why, when 2021 arrived, football seemed ready to give him a rematch. The world had just overcome the worst of the pandemic, and stadiums were reopening with renewed hope. The Copa America was being played in Brazil, the most hostile place possible, against the eternal rival in the legendary Maracanã. It was the perfect stage to write an epic. Messi didn't just play the tournament, he dominated it from start to finish. He was the top scorer with 4 goals, the top assist provider with 5, and the best player of the Copa. We saw him in every match with an intensity rarely seen before, defending, running, shouting. He wasn't just Barca's genius, he was the absolute leader of his country. And then came the final, Argentina versus Brazil at the Maracanã. In a tight match, Ángel Di Maria scored the winning goal. The final whistle unleashed madness. Messi on his knees, crying, embraced by his teammates. It was the most human moment of his entire career. He had finally broken the curse. He had finally given his homeland what it dreamed of most, a title with the senior national team. That same year, with Barça in decline, Messi also lifted the Copa del Rey and finished as La Liga's top scorer for the last time with 30 goals. But all of that faded next to what he achieved with Argentina. The 2021 Ballon d'Or ceremony was a tribute to the genius. Robert Lewandowski arrived with monstrous numbers, Jorginho with a Champions League and a Euro, but nothing could compete with the magic and emotion of Messi lifting the Copa America at the Maracanã. When he lifted his 7th Ballon d'Or, Messi didn't just expand his legend, he closed a cycle of pain and redemption. That trophy wasn't for him. It was for Argentina, for all those who had seen him cry in past defeats. It was the symbol that he never gave up, that he kept fighting until he conquered what once seemed impossible. The 7th Ballon d'Or was different. It wasn't just numbers. It wasn't just football. It was history, emotion, and justice for the greatest of all time. The year 2022 will forever remain the most glorious chapter in football history. Lionel Andrés Messi, at 35 years old, when many already considered him a player in decline, gifted us the greatest masterpiece of all, the Qatar World Cup. The road was anything but easy. In fact, it began with a brutal blow, the loss to Saudi Arabia in their opening match. The entire world thought Argentina was out. But that stumble only ignited the fire in their captain even more. Messi took responsibility as if he carried not just his team, but an entire country on his shoulders. Against Mexico, he appeared with a lethal left-footed strike from outside the box, a goal that restored life to his people. Against Australia, he scored with magical finesse to guide the team into the quarter-finals. Against the Netherlands, in that tense and dramatic match, he delivered an impossible assist and scored in the penalty shootout. In the semi-finals against Croatia, he became a nightmare. He scored and produced one of the most legendary assists ever, leaving Gvardiol scattered on the pitch. And then came the final, the most epic of all finals, Argentina versus France, Messi versus Mbappé. It was a match of pure madness. Messi scored in regular time and again in extra time. Mbappé, with a hat-trick, refused to surrender. The world was on the brink of a heart attack. Everything came down to penalties, and when Montiel scored the last one, the entire universe bowed down. Messi lifting the World Cup was the image everyone had been waiting for, the missing piece in the portrait of the greatest of all time. That World Cup turned him into an eternal legend. Messi became the first player in history to score in the group stage, round of 16, quarter-finals, semi-finals, and final of the same World Cup. He was named the tournament's best player and, with tears in his eyes, completed the masterpiece that neither Maradona nor Pelé could replicate in the modern era. The 2023 Ballon d'Or ceremony was a mere formality. Messi lifted his 8th Ballon d'Or, 3 more than Cristiano Ronaldo, burying once and for all a rivalry that never truly existed. Because while everyone else tried to catch him, he was already far too ahead. That 8th trophy wasn't just another award. It was the final seal on the greatest career football has ever seen. The confirmation that history is already written, and in it, there is only one absolute king, Lionel Andrés Messi. The world saw it, the world celebrated it, and the world will remember it forever. 8 Ballon d'Or awards, 3 more than Cristiano Ronaldo. A rivalry that existed only in the minds of fans, but one that history has already buried. Because at the end of the road, there was no doubt. Messi is the only one who rose as a legend among legends. Now, at 38 and on his way to 39, Messi prepares for his final great battle, the 2026 World Cup. Maybe he no longer runs the way he used to, maybe he won't play every minute like he did in his golden years, but every touch of the ball will be an eternal memory. What he gave us as a footballer is impossible to measure, because it wasn't just goals, titles, or records. It was magic, it was emotion, it was history. And when the day comes to say goodbye, we'll know that we lived through the era of the greatest of all time. CULÉS family, this was an epic recap of the legend of Lionel Messi, the greatest of all time. If you love the number 10 as much as we do, leave a like, subscribe to Barça Cracks, and activate the notification bell, because here, Messi's legacy never dies.